We'll discuss the latest West Ham transfer rumours and news later on in the video, but first I want to have a chat because there was something that caught my eye in the last 24 hours that's annoyed me. Yes, I know, surprise, surprise, but it's hard to feel positive and upbeat right now. In life, you can have short-term problems, long-term problems. You can have small problems, you can have big problems. And I think the issue with West Ham is that we've got big long-term problems, and that's plural, not singular. But as a result of that, I think it's overshadowing everything else for me at the minute in the meantime. Because today is match day. We're playing Wolves tonight in the Cup. Usually I look forward to the Cup games. Usually I get excited for them because you're 90 minutes away from keeping the dream alive. And that's a remarkable thing to have. That if you win your next game, you're one step closer to winning a trophy. You're one step closer to delivering a dream to the fan base, for the manager, for the players, for all involved. Cup competitions are fantastic. They should be fantastic. They should bring you that feeling. Sometimes they do. Not today. I was feeling like this yesterday and I thought, you'll be all right tomorrow. You're not feeling very well anyway. Everything's just a bit miserable. Come tomorrow, you'll wake up, match day that night, you'll be buzzing for it. Not the case. And sometimes I look at the comment section for justification, for reassurance. And I did my match preview last night, and this morning I had a look at the comment section. In a weird way, I was pleased to see I'm not alone, but I was also not pleased to see I wasn't alone. Plenty of other people feel the same way as I do, which is they're not really looking forward to the game. That if we win, does it really mean anything? Technically, we're one step closer to that dream, but I think there's just no belief at the minute that we can go all the way, we can get to Wembley. There's just none. And I think if maybe we'd signed a couple of midfielders between the Chelsea game and this game, say one of them was signed in time, they could play tonight. Let's just say we played tonight, new midfielder, had an absolute belting game, we won comfortably, played good football. Maybe you could have hope. Maybe tomorrow morning you think, actually, that was all right. I'm looking forward to seeing what the other midfielder can do. Maybe we'll be all right. I'm looking forward to the Forest game. And I think it's the lack of signings isn't helping. But it's not just the lack of signings, is it? It's the excuses, the blame game. Potter and Macaulay, make no mistake about this, Potter and Macaulay are getting chucked under the bus by David Sullivan right now. Absolutely. We discussed it on Sunday about how Sean Whetstone done that tweet saying the board are now going to get stuck in. Yet, 4 months ago, David Sullivan was director of football. Well, in the last 24 hours, it's come out that Kyle Macaulay's targets are too ambitious. So that's the reason we failed this window so far, because his targets are too ambitious. Not having it, not buying it whatsoever. Leave it out. So let's take a name we were linked to earlier on the window. Now, it doesn't mean we wanted this player. However, sometimes a rumour comes out and something happens afterwards which maybe gives that initial rumour a little bit of credibility. Hopefully it makes sense when I explain. It doesn't mean it's true, but you know what? I do believe this. You don't have to, I do. So way early on in the summer, towards the end of the season actually, we were linked, of course, to Habib Diarra. And the rumours were from ex-West Ham employee that West Ham were going to send scouts to England versus Senegal so that they could watch Habib Diarra, but also El Hadji Malik Diouf. That was the rumour. The evidence is that we signed El Hadji Malik Diouf. So, in my view, that rumour was then true. Now, it could be 50% correct, which is we sent a scout to look at Diouf, but not Diarra. We weren't interested. But I do wonder, here's my theory as to why we didn't sign Diarra, and that's because we hadn't sold anyone. Because the club, David Sullivan, insisted on this sell before we buy policy. And we hadn't sold Kudus then. So when Sunderland signed Diarra, we hadn't sold anyone, therefore we could not bid. Now, that sell before we buy policy could have just been a rumour. Again, we're dealing with just rumours. None of us know the 100% truth. But we look at the evidence, which is we didn't sign anyone until after we sold Kudus. So I would suggest that proved to be true, that the club were insisting sell before we buy. Now, when we combine both of those things, so we didn't get Diarra, maybe we didn't want him, but I think we did. But we couldn't because we hadn't sold Kudus. Well, that's got nothing to do with Kyle Macaulay being ambitious. That's got to do with the poor running of the football club. That's got to do with a self-inflicted policy of the football club, that we couldn't go and get that target. Are you telling me we cannot compete with Sunderland now in the transfer window? Because if that's what you're saying, then that's a very dangerous thing to start portraying as a football club, saying, sorry, we can't compete with the 3 newly promoted football teams. Too ambitious. Now, I accept some targets that we've been linked to are on the ambitious side of things. Harvey Elliott was always a bit ambitious. Jacob Ramsey was ambitious / unrealistic. Right? I'm willing to accept those ones were incredibly unlikely. But I didn't see much problem in trying for Harvey Elliott 2 months ago. Back in June, trying to get Elliott then. That was not a problem. Very early on in the window, or even between the 2 windows, the first one opening and closing, the second one opening, try and get some of your ambitious players then. And if you discover there's no chance, that's fine. By the time the window opens, you've already crossed the ambitious ones off your list and said, that's not happening, let's move on to the next ones. But all the other players we've been linked to, there's not been that many that have screamed too ambitious. Are they too ambitious or are they too expensive? Because I've got a feeling it's the latter. When I say too expensive, it doesn't mean they're inaffordable. It means that the club don't want to pay it / can't pay it because they won't put their own money in. So is Kyle Macaulay too ambitious? Or are you, and this is, if you were David Sullivan watching, I'm pointing at you, and not just you, actually. I keep saying Sullivan, and a lot of it does come down to Sullivan, but are you shareholders of West Ham United, and I include Kretinsky, I include Gold, Tripsmith, all of you. Is Kyle Macaulay too ambitious, or are you not ambitious enough? Because from where I sit, we haven't been too ambitious this summer. Look at what we've brought in. We've bought 2 players. 2. Ooh, too ambitious that is, isn't it? I'm not having it. I'm not having it at all. And also, I tell you what then, let's just go along with Sullivan's latest nonsense that Kyle Macaulay's targets are too ambitious, right? If you were a good chairman of a football club, would you wait until a week before the window closes before you step in? No, you wouldn't. By the time you got halfway through June into July, that's when you'd be saying, look, mate, your targets, we just can't get them. They don't want to come to West Ham. You need to just rein this in a little bit. Come up with more realistic targets, please. You wouldn't wait until a week before the end of the window, would you? So, even if they were too ambitious, I don't believe they were, but even if they are too ambitious, then it still falls down on you for allowing it to happen, for putting up with it until a week to go in the transfer window before you go, oh, I'm going to get stuck in. Just do one. Honestly, I'm sick of it. I am absolutely sick of it. Now, I remain confident we'll sign player. I think we'll sign at least 1, maybe 2. I can't see us doing much more than that. I think we need 5, but I ain't getting 5. I ain't getting to see 5 players that I want to see. I don't know how much signings you guys think we need. I'd imagine most people will be around the 4, 5, 6 mark. Some might even say 11, please. But I think 5, defender, 2 midfielders, a wide player / attacking midfielder, and a striker. I think that's what we need. And I think there's some ambitious players to be had as well. I think we need to have a look at the loan market. I might do a video to them. Anyone interested in an ambitious loan target video from myself? Might do that tomorrow. A bit of fun. Hopefully not everyone takes it too serious. David Sullivan can watch it. I'm Team Kyle Macaulay. Here's some ambitious players for us. But not having it. Anyway, we're going to discuss the latest transfer rumours now. I still think we will sign at least a couple of players. More fool me if we don't. But, and I think the players we bring in, will they be better than what we've already got? Yeah. But let's be honest here. The bar's pretty low, isn't it? Will they be enough? Well, that's where my concern lies. Because I think some of the players we've been linked to, I think, yeah, they're better than what we've got. But is it enough? If we bring in 2 of those, doesn't necessarily mean that we'll be fine this season. It just means that they'll be playing week in, week out instead of the other guys. But anyway, apparently we've got 6 bids in from players at the minute, midfielders at the minute. We've got 6 bids in for 6 different midfielders. Lots of names being banded around. You already know most of them. But the two that's believed to be in that 6, one is Hayden, Hackney, Middlesbrough. I'm a fan of him, but I think if you're going to get him in, you need to get in a defensive midfielder. He's not good out of possession. In possession on the ball, I think he's brilliant. I think, travelling with the ball, his distribution, playing it into that final third, I think he's really good with those aspects of his game. But from this sort of defensive aspect, I'm not a fan. He worries me a little bit. So would I have Hayden Hackney at West Ham? Well, yes. But who else? This is my point. Hayden Hackney is better than what we've got. But it's just him on his own is not enough. If you got him in and Fernandes, I'm not sure that's enough either. Because of the types of players they are. It's be saying, hang on a minute, where's the sort of defensive midfielder here? We need one. Potts can maybe do that role. But that's it. We've loaned Alvarez out to Fernandes for apparently less than €2 million, by the way. That is horrific if that's happened. Rodriguez on the brink of leaving. Not that I want to see him personally, but my point is he's a defensive midfielder. I wouldn't want to see Souček or Ward-Prowse at the base of midfield either. So if you're going to bring in Fernandes and Hackney, that's good. But I still think we need another one. And this is if we bring in a defensive midfielder plus Hackney, that's okay. 2 midfielders, that's fine. But if you're going to bring in Fernandes and Hackney, it's 2 midfielders, but I don't think it's okay. I think it's very important that we get the right players in here rather than just bringing in 2 midfielders for the sake of it. I'm a bit concerned. Now, Fernandes is apparently one of those in the 6, which would be unsurprising. Maybe we've gone up to 33 million this time. But the Athletic are reporting this morning that Fernandes is still West Ham's top target. I will repeat what I've said since we've been linked to him. If we want him, we'll sign him. There's a deal to be done. Southampton haven't said he's not for sale. Quite the opposite. Southampton have been naming a price. Southampton are willing to negotiate. Southampton are willing to sell. We just need to give them terms that they're happy with. So if we want Fernandes, we should be able to get him. Hopefully, he's not one of the 2 ambitious targets that Macaulay has come up with. Now, some of the other midfielders I'm not going to go into, they're the names that have been linked to all summer. There's about 10 different players who've been linked to at the minute. It's a wait and see. But those 2 in particular feel a little bit more substantial than the rest. Rodriguez, like I said, on the verge of going to Spain. Some suggesting that the move to Espanyol is pretty much done. Others suggesting that Real Betis is the club that he's wanting to go back to. The transfer fee is a bit confusing, because it's been sort of suggested that it's a free transfer, Rodriguez to Spain. Now, Sean put out that he was going to go to Saudi for $6.5 million, which it was always difficult to believe, wasn't it? But apparently he's rejected a move to Saudi. Understandable. So he wants to go to Spain and Spain only, and we're not going to get a transfer fee for him. Andy Irving's turned down a move to Wrexham. We'd accepted a bid, but the personal terms on offer wasn't satisfactory to the Iron Brew Iniesta, so he's rejected a move to Wrexham. Whether or not that was his only offer or Wrexham will negotiate with him remains to be seen, but at the minute he's not going anywhere else. Apparently we've rejected a bid from Everton for Thomas Souček. And lastly, it's Lucas Paqueta. A lot of noise. A lot of noise. This one's a hard one to... I'll tell you where I am, actually. I think we want to sell him. I think we've been gagging to sell him and Kudus for months. Then the entirety of the second half of last season, Kudus and Paqueta were the 2 players I think the club were absolutely gagging to sell. Then also Paqueta's been cleared. That means his value increases naturally. And the club will do the whole, oh no, we don't want to sell him. Oh no, he's not going anywhere. I'm not sure. I think they're only saying that because they know they can't sell him for, say, less than 50 million. And I think they know the chance of getting a bid of said price is, well, ambitious. That's the word for today, isn't it? Too ambitious. That's the phrase for today. I might suggest Gonzo puts it in the phrase that pays later on. He's got to put some. A win is too ambitious. Winning the Carabao Cup is too ambitious. I'm sure you can come up with a play on words with one of the players involved tonight. But the Paqueta thing is just not going away. Apparently, 50, 60 million is what it would take to sell us. We don't want to sell him, but if someone bids 50 million, then we might sell him. So we will sell him then, right? Just say that. Just say we're willing to sell him, but he's 50, 60 million. Every player has a price. And if the club say, no, Jared Bowen doesn't have a price, okay, if someone bid 200 million for Jared Bowen, would you accept it? You would. Brilliant. So we agree he does have a price. Now let's work out what the price is. Anyway, that's the latest transfer news and rumours. Something's got to happen, right? The window closes at 7 p.m. on Monday. We've got to sign players. Sullivan's getting stuck in. Since he said that, nothing's really happened. So I think his definition of stuck in and my definition of stuck in are completely different things. But we do have a match tonight. We are live. So what is it? 7:30 kickoff. So it's 6:25. We'll be live on YouTube. If you're going to the game, enjoy it. I hope you witness a good performance and a win. If you're not, please do come back this evening and join us for the build-up show. Your company would be much appreciated. Hopefully I'm feeling okay. I'm a bit better today than I was yesterday, but still not 100%. But I'm hoping that I don't deteriorate. The evenings have been the worst the last couple of days, so I'm hoping I'm all right. Anyway, I'm going to shut up and disappear. Kyle Macaulay, keep being ambitious because we need someone at this football club to have some. And you guys, thank you very much. Keep supporting. Please do drop a like on the video by clicking thumbs up. It's going to be a chat. Catch you in a bit.